Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome back. It is 8:59 and we're going to be honing in on a disaster right here in South Africa, in the Free State to be precise, and that is the collapse of the mine dam wall in Jagersfontein. Untold carnage, 3 people have died and the town itself is under mud. I think some people can barely make their way around. Alhamdulillah, founder of the Gift of Givers, Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman and his team are hard at work trying to assist the people in absolute dire need there. Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman, Assalamu alaikum, welcome to the program. And what do we know about how this disaster occurred? When were you and your team informed, and what's happening as far as Gift of the Givers and aid is concerned in that part of the world?
Walaikum salam, Julie. We heard yesterday morning. We started getting the calls from warrant officer Nokia, based on site in the area in Jagersfontein. Then we got calls from community leaders. We got calls from the people themselves, from the farmers, and later in the morning we got a call even from the premier to say, you know what, can we assist? This dam wall has broken, and it belongs to a mine. And the sludge has come down without warning. The wall broke. Nobody was expecting it. Nobody knew about it. And everything in the paths got wiped away, with thick mud. Houses were completely washed away, at least 9 of them. 16 or more have been totally destroyed. Cars got washed away. Hundreds of sheep got washed away. 3 people's bodies were found at some point. Some other people were missing, and they said they caught up in the sludge, which is chin high. And instead, it's going to be very difficult to find those people in that sludge. And there was also reports of some other family members missing. About 40 people were admitted to hospital with all different levels of degrees of injuries, some fractured bones, ribs, shoulders, arms. Not sure of the exact details. 4 of them apparently were critically ill. The numbers may rise. Whilst that was happening, the other effect was that all the water systems have been knocked out. So there's no water available. The pumps are gone. The pumping sites are gone. The clean water is gone. So there's not a single drop of water in the entire area for the people. The ESCOM tower was also knocked out. So electricity. So last night it was total darkness and no water in all of Jagersfontein. The cell phone towers have been affected. It's an environmental catastrophe because this is contaminated items from a mine. This is not pure water. It's contaminated with all types of chemicals. The plants have been affected. The fodder have been affected. The sheep that survived, that tried to drink water, died because of the poisoning. And of course, the sheep now, those that are alive, require antibiotics and special kind of care. In addition, they also require fodder. The water then moved from the area into the rivers, and the fish died because of the contamination. So all the fish is dead. Now they worried that if this water enter other dams, there's going to be contamination going into the Kharib Dam. I'm not so sure about it, but we got feedback this morning. The Kharib Dam is the dam that supplies all the water to Port Elizabeth, Abeja. If that happens, the water is going to be infected in that town, and there's a day zero problem in Quebec. Yeah, so the impact of this environmental crisis is huge, and of course, people then have to get out of the sludge. They have to leave their homes. They've lost their possessions. They need to go to community halls. It's cold at night. They require food, blankets, and mattresses. But of course, the number one priority is water. They just need as much water as they can get. When we got the message, we alerted our teams in Bethlehem, in Graafrenet, in East London, in Johannesburg, and in Pietermaritzburg. Already from 4 centers, they're virtually on site. The Bethlehem team was already there last night. The Graafrenet team was moving at night, and they had to stop them to say, you can't see the road. It's not safe. Stop. Don't move any further. So we had to hold back. But they're on the road. They should be there in the next hour. The Joburg team reached Bloemfontein, is on its way also to Furi's, to a place a few kilometers outside, 11 kilometers outside Jagersfontein. They should be there in a short while. And the Maritzburg team will hold on to see what the requirements are of the other teams before they leave. East London team is also part of the Graafrenet team. All the teams will be on site by 10 o'clock at the latest.
Alhamdulillah. So, Dr. Sooliman, do we know how many people, obviously the entire town has been affected, number of people that have been affected, and then obviously you guys do amazing work, but you're going to need government, possibly the SANDF to come in to assist as well, because with sludge enveloping the entire town, it's not going to be an easy task for Gift of the Givers and other such organizations to try and assist the people even further. It's about digging people out of their homes, etc., and get them to safety to possibly higher ground? And are you also hoping that the mining company responsible for this dam and the area are also going to come on board to assist?
Well, the figures we don't know. Nobody can give us an idea of the number of people in the town. Some people say 5,000, some people say 9,000, so that we don't know. There's a community hall nearby. Nobody's encouraged to stay in their homes or stay in the area. Everybody's been asked to be evacuated and to move. And the police services, we offered search and rescue teams, but they said it was manageable, because a lot of people moved out of the way before the water actually came down, those that were further away. So there was no need to us to send in search and rescue teams. And in fact, the head of search and rescue and disaster management in Free State and his deputy, while somebody works in his team, are both our team members. They work with us, and they've been giving us feedback to say, look, we don't require any more items. The police diving unit is there. They've had some other search and rescue people, but in essence, they've managed because they haven't really needed to recover much people. But the only thing is to move people who can move themselves, asking them to move, not so much to higher ground, but out of the line of the mud. And there's a community hall, there's a church in the area where they are starting to accommodate the people. Many haven't come because trying to get what they can from their homes. But today we should have a clearer picture, because once the need for water and food increases, people will have to come to some point. So we don't actually need any assistance to move people. They will come on their own to areas, demarcated areas. We know government has called us. We have always get called by government. But, please, can you assist? And we're there to assist. And our teams, as I said, the first team is already on site. The other three teams will be there on site within an hour. We were asked to hold back because of the poor vision and the darkness, and of course no power and no networks. So it wasn't safe to send the teams through the night. So we held back. And then the other thing is, yes, whoever's in charge of this dam have to take total responsibility to cover all the cost of everything that has been destroyed, the environmental cleanup, electrical system.
Okay, we've
The
just
electrical
lost.
systems, everything that's required has to be sorted out by the dam. All the costs involved, it's their responsibility. Whoever owns that wall and the dam, that mine.
And obviously, you and your team, or rather your team, are hard at work on the ground. There's a lot to be done currently, but post the clear up of the area is when the real work starts. It's about relocating these people, and it's about rehabilitating the area that's been totally damaged. As you've indicated, the sludge has lots of poisonous materials in them. So not safe at all for people to carry on living there. They're going to have to be resettled, and that is a huge task.
Yes, and that's why the mining company has to get involved. Whoever's responsible, there's no way people can go and stay back there. It's impossible. You have to move an entire town. And who's going to take a chance living there? Nothing will grow there with all the contamination. And even the sheep now, we need to send in fodder to feed those sheep and special fortified pallets, whatever's required to save those sheep. But they can't graze there again. How are they going to graze there? Of course, the areas that are saved, those farmers are lucky. But the area that has been affected, the rivers that have been affected, and all where people are living, there has to be total relocation. Doesn't have to be miles away, but somewhere nearby where they can still carry on living the way they've lived before, but they certainly cannot stay where they are right now.
Okay, so obviously people watching and listening to us this morning are going to want to get involved. Do you find that when you have these sort of situations playing out, disaster situations, that people want to volunteer, their services in any way they can, apart from, donating much needed funds to Gift of the Givers? What do you say to people like that, Dr. Sooliman?
We have lots of people volunteering, but this is a very specialized job. We know the search and rescue teams that we have are highly skilled. You can't just send anybody to a situation like that. So, we appreciate the volunteers, and all my staff are full-time staff. I don't use any volunteers because my staff are trained in disaster interventions. They know the risk, what's involved, how to operate, what to do, when to go. And a lot of my teams know all the areas because they've been in those areas many times before. So, volunteers we can use, for example, if there's a small fire in a place in Lens or Victoria or somewhere, and they're on site and my teams are there, they want to help deliver a food parcel or government does door to door, that's fine. But in complicated situations like this, we don't allow them to travel with us.
Absolutely, because you're then going to be responsible should anything go wrong. Um, I
Exactly.
just, I just like to read out one or two messages very quickly from Surya Mamin Azada. Goes on to say, Mashallah, Dr. Sooliman, you're doing amazing work. Alhamdulillah, You're really doing sterling work for humanity. Government should take responsibility for this cost. So says Soria Marmin Azada. And in closing, then, Dr. Sooliman, we should start digging deep into our hearts and our pockets to continue making Gift of the Givers as effective as they are, alhamdulillah.
There's a huge need for water here. If anybody can supply bottled water, Superlink loads, any companies that are listening in, it's a blessing because there's a real need for water for men and animals. So whatever water we can get inside there will be of great benefit to us, and of course to help those people. The big cry is for water right now. So if anybody's listening can fund water or give water, truckloads of water, it'll be a huge blessing for you. Our toll-free number is 0800 786 911, or you can leave messages on our social media pages.
Shukran very much. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala watch over you and your entire team. Continue doing the amazing work and may you be rewarded. Wonderful talking to you. Assalamu alaikum.
Shukran, jazakallah. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
That was Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman talking to us about the disaster playing out in Jagersfontein in the Free State. A dam wall has collapsed and created all sorts of disastrous situations. Sludge has really overtaken the town. People have died. Livestock has been lost. Crops have been totally lost. I don't think people will be able to carry on living in that area. The entire area needs to be rehabilitated or will end up being a ghost town. People have to be resettled, hopefully, nearby. As always, Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman and his amazing team, Gift of the Givers, have responded almost immediately. And the big need right now is for water. As you've heard, Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman has suggested truckloads, link loads of water to the areas. So please, people who can donate, get in touch with Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman or Gift of the Givers and make this very, very meaningful and worthy contribution. 11 after 9 o'clock in a minute, we'll be joined by our news correspondent, Zahid Jadwat, with the news bulletin of the day.